right, ladies and gents, today we have a lot to talk about regarding my GX460. What's up everybody, it's Investor Z34 back with another video today covering the in-depth inspection of my newly purchased Lexus GX460. Now I'm really excited to share this information today, and I'm betting if you are considering buying a GX460, or if you maybe have newly purchased it and you're trying to get the vehicle all sorted out, maybe even before you modify it, I think you'll find this video really entertaining and educational. To kind of like tee up what I'm gonna do in this video, I recently took my newly purchased GX460 into a shop here in town that specializes in off-road trucks, especially Lexus and Toyota. Luckily, the owner of that shop, which I guess I'll call them out now, Duggy's Garage, which is local to Houston, Texas, was nice enough to go ahead and do my inspection as I recorded, to kind of like go through what he was looking at while he was kind of scoping out my GX. So very nice of them to do that. When I went to that garage, everybody treated me really nice. So if you're in the Houston area, man, highly recommend Duggy's Garage. Go check them out. While we're on the subject of Duggy's Garage, highly suggest you go check out their Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and flash it across the screen now, and you know, go check it out for yourself. Really great people, great shop, great attitude. I felt like I got really great customer service. But kind of backing up here for a second, what we're going to do in the video is I'm going to show my experience of them kind of scoping out my vehicle, finding anything that I might have missed whenever I initially went over the vehicle. I just took a pretty brief glance over it before I bought it. I mean, I felt comfortable enough around vehicles that I wasn't probably going to be surprised too much, considering that this is a 2015 Lexus with like 77,000 miles. I mean, the reality here is that you know, Toyota and Lexus are, you know, pretty reliable vehicles, but obviously you know, nothing is going to be perfect buying used, and just be ready to sort it out. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video now of the experience, and then at the end of the video, what I'll do is I'll kind of like walk through the findings and you know, just my general thoughts. And if there's any questions or comments, you can drop them down below. But anyways, we'll start the inspection materials now, and I'll see you in just a bit to conclude the video. So we're checking out my truck today. We're at Duggy's Garage. What's going on, with guys? The man himself. So what we're gonna try and accomplish here is just doing a quick check over on the truck, see if anything sticks out. I haven't had a chance to go over it a little bit closer myself. So now we're gonna go to the professionals and get their opinion.
Yep, so we're gonna pretty much run through on this truck and see if we see any major issues on it. You know, these trucks pretty stand up to be pretty reliable, but you know, as being a new owner on these vehicles, it's really worth it to kind of get it checked out and really understand any issues that kind of come around with it. So I'm going to kind of start from the back forward and then just kind of check general mechanical condition of it. We're looking for stuff like mechanical engine leaks, you know, leaks at any drivetrain parts or anything like that. We're also looking for rust underneath the vehicle. There's a lot of bushings on these trucks also that we kind of take a look at to see if there's any tearing or any issues on them also. Drivetrain parts, transfer case, transmission, engine, we're looking for leaks or any issues or play in them also. You know, these trucks, again, are still pretty reliable, but you know, there's just wear parts on any moving parts. So let's run through it. I'm gonna take my phone. There's a little bit of seepage here. That's the Kdss RAM. So generally, whenever we go through, we take pictures of everything. We log on to our software, and then we make notes of everything, and then everything kind of gets put together real nicely in a PDF format. So I'm gonna take pictures and kind of take a mental note of everything. Justin, these running boards is what I was talking about. So basically, this is a whole running board right here. But we can trim this running board piece to kind of come across right here. So this running board pops up in here.
Yep.
So we can trim this across and have it as a little finisher piece.
Gotcha. Yeah, especially like just when I go to swapped out sliders there.
Yep.
So far looking pretty clean underneath, right?
Yeah. I'm also looking for signs of like, sometimes if it's been in an accident, that we can tell signs of like overspray or bent brackets, or, you know, like small clips aren't put back together. You can tell kind of shoddy repairs from that.
Right.
But I'm not seeing a ton of that right now. Exhaust looks good. Drive shaft looks good. On the drive shafts, we're checking for play in the U-joints themselves, kind of back and forth at 12 and 6 and 3 and 9. These cars are full-time four-wheel drive, so. Transfer case looks good. How many miles does this have?
Right about 77.
Okay. So here I can tell somebody's been greasing the drive shaft, so that's good because the grease has been slinging out onto the transfer case, so that's good news.
Yeah, I did see the service records on it. It looks like it's been pretty well maintained, but obviously getting underneath is a different story, right?
Yeah. Brake pads look good. Alright, let me grab some tools. I'm going to pull off these skid plates real quick. Alright. Alright, so kind of looking at in here, there is a potential issue on these that the cam towers might leak, or even the front oil cover. So I'm looking for signs of either oil or coolant. These have an issue with the valley plates on them leaking also. I see a little bit of residue here, but sometimes these can be kind of hard to find, but you can see the residue on that AC compressor right there.
Kind of back there.
Yeah.
Maybe a different angle here.
Yeah, let me see if I can shine the light. Right here.
Yeah.
This area right here. I see oil residue right there. So I'm basically gonna kind of finish taking a look underneath of it.
Yeah.
And then try to see if I can find the highest point of where it's leaking from.
Sure.
Suspension all looks good. This car does in fact have Kdss S. So
Yeah, you know what's funny is I remember when I bought it, I was like, well, I thought it was actually like the non-Kdss S, but
yeah,
obviously.
most all GX460 have Kdss S. So here I see a CV boot that's starting to fail. So it's starting to sling grease out.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it on the frame rails, and this band right here starts to fail, but it looks like you know, like it's not catastrophic just yet. It's definitely something that I would probably look to get addressed relatively soon.
And when the boot's failing, I mean, does it make sense just to try and reboot it, or are we going like new CV axle, or what are we doing normally?
I don't know, because this looks like it's been rebooted because this grease is not the right color or consistency of what came stock. So in this situation, we would probably look to replace the CV axle. Yeah, so this one looks fine. So we probably wouldn't even touch this CV axle. This is the front differential right here.
Are they both OEM or
This is this is definitely an OEM axle, and
Gotcha.
you know, like I can kind of see pry marks here, and it's the same way that we would take it off, basically to pop the CB axle out of the differential. So, you know, just kind of looking at signs of somebody's been in here. And I would imagine that somebody's been in here to reboot the CB axle. So, ball joints and lower control arms, bushings look good. No leaks at the differential. I think we're all good there. KDSS looks good.
And as far as like upgrading the truck, right, with the KDSS, I mean, what's your take on it? I mean, does it cause any type of problems, or is there any type of adjustments that need to be made to kind of, you know, account
Short
for
answer
anything?
is no.
No.
Short answer is no. Yeah. So with KDSS, you do have a max lift height that you can go, which is around 2.5 to 3 inches. Any more than that, then really any car more than 3 inches is gonna start to ride kind of funny anyway. So, but yeah, kind of doing. If you're looking at doing like a long travel or anything, then it's probably not worth it because the rear would be limited by the suspension travel. So.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna kind of lower the car a little bit, and we can kind of pop the hood and take a look underneath the hood.
Sure.
Wheels, I'm gonna check wheel bearings and tie rods.
We're just checking for play there.
Yep. These fender liners are super common for them to kind of tear like that. There's an upgrade on them from Wrap Rubber that we can do.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, so this side is torn off. It's the GX470 and 460. Have been super common on it, I think just because of the V8. You can lower the car a little bit more.
Sure.
Definitely detail the engine.
All the plastic parts definitely take me back to working on my Z.
Yeah. Looks good. That could probably be changed. It used to get changed. The
Power steering? Sure.
Looking for signs of cracks on the radiator because it has aluminum core and also plastic tanks. So those can start to separate. Whenever it starts to wear. I'm also looking for discoloration on the tanks also. After a couple, few thousand heat cycles, they start to brown and discolor. And we know that that's about the time to get replaced also. Air filter, good. Looking for any signs of water inside the engine oil or anything like that.
Yeah.
Anything that's not normal. Level looks good. It's just a tad bit low, but not anything to be concerned about. Checking for a resistance on the fan clutch. If I feel no resistance, then it's bad. If I feel too much resistance, then it's bad. So more about feel than anything. Color on that looks good. I'm not gonna pop this since the car is still hot.
Sure.
They're gonna spew me with hot coolant, which is not fun at all.
Though I did have a chance encounter doing that myself on my old Cherokee.
It's not fun. I'm gonna grab a stool and see if I can find that cam tower leak.
Sure, sure.
And then also look on the sides of the valve covers and see if I see any signs there. Stool right.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was like, damn, I don't even have a stool to start working on my truck. I'm woefully ill-prepared.
So I see signs of maybe the front cover leaking. It's just starting in its preliminary kind of cycle of doing that. It's probably, you know, kind of one of those things to keep an eye on.
Okay.
It's not leaving anything major on the ground or anything like that. So it's just something I would kind of keep an eye on. But basically, process of repair that is that everything from the front of the engine gets taken off, and then we basically take that cover off and then reseal it. So it's not a ton of money in parts, but it is a ton of money in labor.
Gotcha. And I guess if you were already in there, right? I mean, is there any other preventative stuff that, you know, might do at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, you would replace stuff like the serpentine belt, and then, you know, radiator fan clutch looks good, but I think they're relatively cheap. So the stuff that's already going to be off, we would probably have a discussion on if we were ready off, are we just going to go ahead and replace it?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big believer, like, while you're already in there, you know?
Yeah. Everything else looks pretty good. The valve covers on this side look good. The hoses look pretty good also. So yeah, I mean, stuff like radiator and hoses and stuff like that, we definitely have a conversation like it's not that much more. And then really inside, we just do a kind of a mechanical function check on it.
Yeah.
And then that's really it. So, I mean, all I've really would kind of put priority on is that CV axle, the shocks, and then there is a ram on the back that's looking like it's kind of sweating fluid, but that's something I would kind of keep an eye on also and see if it's causing any issues.
And that's the KDS ram? Or?
Yeah, KDS ram in the back.
So as far as, I mean, swapping out that ram on the KDS, I'm actually pretty, I don't know a better word, but unknowledgeable about KDS. I mean, is that like a larger job, or how do you consider it?
It is. It's a pressurized system. So basically, it has like, I think like 700 or 800 pounds of pressure in it. So to break it open and then repressurize the system is a process and a job. It requires some special tooling. To be honest, we've never done one, so it's not a common issue. So it's something I would keep an eye on and see if it gets worse. But you know, you'll notice it in your kind of ride quality whenever it gets time. If it does start causing issues, that you'll notice that you'll have a lot more body roll and a lot more sway in your ride.
Gotcha. Okay. And can you give me like just a brief rundown about like what Kdss is, just in general?
Yeah. So Kdss basically is a hydraulic sway bar, and it connects the front and the rear axle together. So basically it prevents sway hydraulically by connecting the front and rear axles together. That's shortest description that I could put.
Yeah.
Conventional sway bars only connect the left and the right sides.
Yep.
But KDSS kind of takes it a step further by also connecting the front and the rear.
Yeah, it's the front and the rear, and then I'm trying to remember what side. Is it the driver's side or the passenger side that also has like some KDSS components, like just along the like the sides?
The driver's side.
Driver's side. Because I've heard of you know, the KDSS lane and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, KDSS lane is one of those things where it happens on 50% of vehicles.
Yeah.
So whether, you know, like even in stock form, they can start to lean. So if it leans in stock form and then we lift it, most likely it's probably going to lean whenever we lift it.
Sure.
So there's ways around it. Treaty Oak Off-Road makes a couple spacers.
Yeah.
I ran through it with my wife's car, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It's something that you kind of have to work around.
And as far as people lifting their GXs with KDSS, I mean, as far as like articulation issues or anything like that, because I've definitely heard of people like disconnecting their sway bars. I mean, how does that work exactly?
So you can't disconnect your KDSS sway bars. If you have a conventional sway bar system, then yeah, it's possible.
Gotcha.
But with KDSS, you're kind of in it for the ride.
And is KDSS deletable, or is it basically you're just kind of on it for the ride? It's not worth it to kind of probably.
I don't know of anybody that's deleted it. It's not a common modification to delete it or remove it.
Right.
If you have conventional sway bars, then it is common to remove those because there is a light on the dash that potentially can pop up if you depressurize the system.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm imagining that's why it's not a popular kind of modification.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool.
So I'm gonna put it up in the air. We'll put the skid plates back on, and then I'm gonna check the other wheel bearing, and that's really it. Well, I'll kind of do a mechanical function test outside of all the windows and low range and everything else.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. You know, like that's crash course on our inspection process.
Yeah.
You know, like we have a 63 point kind of check that we go through, but this is kind of quick and dirty.
Yeah, and I noticed that y'all actually have a wide range of different vehicles. Anything from like FJ40, I'll have to go out there a little bit later to shoot it, but I mean, y'all do a wide variety of different vehicles, and obviously y'all have a very, very good reputation of great customer service. I was wondering, what do y'all primarily work on? Like, what's your flow of cars normally? Like, do you normally service maybe like a couple cars a day, 4 cars a day? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so this is kind of half staff for us right now. So with the holidays, we're pretty slow right now. But I would say that with, you know, like all we do is Toyota Lexus, and that's absolutely all we do. So really a lot of old cars like FJ40s, FJ60s, FJ80s also, first gen 4Runners, but even with the newer cars, right? So generally with us, like older cars are going to need a lot of maintenance kind of on the forefront of everything, and then we start to get into the fun stuff afterwards. So we're a full service maintenance shop and aftermarket parts sales and service. So with newer cars, generally we're doing a lot of kind of fun stuff, right? So lift installs and sliders and armor, but really addressing other stuff too, because they kind of go hand in hand, right? So whenever we're looking at sending you down the road to go out west, to go on a trip or anything like that, the off-road parts matter, but the maintenance matters more, right? So that's where we kind of come in and really kind of hone in on our expertise on that.
Sure. And one other thing I was kind of thinking about was as far as like people out of state of Texas, right? Do y'all do like any like pre-purchase inspection or anything like that? And so how would something like that work? Like, let's say that I found an FJ40 in Houston. I live in Colorado. Do I just ring your shop? Like, how might that process work?
Yeah, so basically you would just, you know, give us a call, have the car dropped off to us so we can put it up on the lift just like we did today and kind of run through our process on it. And then we kind of take pictures of everything. We send it to you in a PDF report. And then from there, it's up to you to decide to purchase the vehicle or not. I would say that on our inspections that we don't give a recommendation to purchase or like a go, no go.
Sure.
We really kind of give you the information for you to make a decision, because really the older the car that you purchase, the more gremlins it's going to have. And that's just a reality of old cars, right? It's really up to you to decide if you're okay with those gremlins and if you're okay with fixing it and if the deal works out for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I guess let's go ahead and do what we need to do next here.
For sure.
And look what just happens to be in Duggy's garage parking lot. An FJ40 exactly like I want it. This is a beautiful green and white FJ40 that is just amazing. I love this FJ40. Amazing. Exactly how I would get it. It's calling my name. Unfortunately, I need more likes and subscribers to make this happen. So feel free to like the video to help me along the way. But wow. What an FJ. I just love everything about this FJ. Just looks fantastic. Can't remember the last time a vehicle was just so much better in person than you like see in pictures and stuff. I mean, the FJs are pretty amazing in general, but it's just so much nicer in person. Really beautiful FJ. Congrats to the owner for sure. I'm jealous. Okay, so let's talk about the findings. There was 3 main issues that we talked about with my Lexus. One was a CV axle apparently on the way out. Looked like it had potentially already been rebooted. Personally, I was actually picking up a little bit of noise, which I believe was coming from that axle anyway. So, you know, sometimes people are, I guess, looking to just reboot their CV axle. In this particular case, I just probably want to go ahead and swap it out. I don't really want to mess with it. Actually, I don't really have too much experience with swapping out axles. It's not something that I'd be afraid of doing myself. I mean, the whole reason why I went, you know, to the Duggy's garage anyways, to basically sort out my truck, because I have no tool, like nothing big in my garage right now to kind of work on my truck myself. I don't even have a stand to stand on. I didn't even think about that until you know, I was recording this video. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to upgrade some of my you know, floor jacks, jack stands, something to stand on to reach all the way around. But yeah, I mean, the axle, I'm just gonna go ahead and swap that out right now. I'm not gonna fool around with it. There was 2 other problems that Duggy called out, Duggy's garage called out, and that is going to be the Kdss rear strut bar. I guess you could say the rear strut, the rear shock. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm still trying to familiarize myself with the Kdss system, but there's a strut in the back of the GX460. Mine is leaking a little bit. I have driven my GX around quite a bit so far, and it's actually you know, still driving as I was expected to, so no real surprises there. But yeah, he did call out like, hey, you know, the strut in the back is leaking, so just FYI, keep your eye on that. Here's what I know about the Kdss system. It can be a pain in the ass. So in the video, I did bring up like, hey, what can we do about this? Can I go ahead and just delete the Kdss system? And from what I've seen, and there's not really a ton of detail about it, is I think I've seen something about KDSS systems being deleted, although that's probably very, very atypical of the GXs out there. So I'll have to take a look and see if that's a possibility. I'd be willing to give it up. I've also considered just going and going back to the dealership and just seeing how much it would cost to fix. I do have a Lexus warranty on this vehicle, and what I was thinking of was basically getting the vehicle sorted out if need be before I actually go ahead and lift it. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll go ahead and maybe try and take it up to Lexus again, see if they warranty it. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to cry home about it. I mean, if it's expensive, it kind of is what it is. I'll have to do another video about the outcome of that, but yeah, kind of is what it is. I'm just going to keep my eye on that one right now. The next and final issue that was kind of called out was going to be the cam towers leaking. Now, I'd heard about a similar issue in the Sequoias, I believe, in the Toyota Sequoias. So whenever I guess it was identified that I may be having like the same issue. And this actually brings up a really good observation that I made. So this actually brings up something kind of interesting. I did notice a ever so slight oil burning smell, and apparently whenever the cam towers do, I guess, leak, what happens is they can drip down on the header. So basically in my video where Duggy's Garage was pointing out basically where the oil was leaking for that cam tower leak, it was basically, I believe, at the bottom of the AC compressor. I believe that's the AC compressor. I have to go back and take a look. But also what can happen is the oil can leak down onto the header, and basically you don't see enough oil on the ground for it to draw your attention, but the oil will leak onto the header, and then you kind of get like a small smell of burning oil. So that kind of explains why I couldn't necessarily track down where that smell was coming from. Apparently it's actually pretty easy to inspect yourself. You don't need like a ton of tools to actually figure out that that's happening. Wish I would have checked that out. But I'll basically go over how to check that in maybe like an upcoming video. As far as the cam tower leak that was kind of pointed out, my plan for that right now is basically just to keep a watch on my oil levels. Obviously, if it gets worse, then we'll go ahead and take a look at it. I think in the video, it was kind of called out as something, pretty minor right now. So I'm not necessarily worried about it, but something, yes, I am going to keep my eye on and basically update all of y'all if y'all are interested in learning more about it. Anyways, those were the findings. I seriously cannot thank Duggy's Garage enough. I'm not getting anything out of this for sharing my experience with them, but I'll tell you, I am probably the biggest proponent of small business that you'll ever come across. And whenever there's good customer service, whenever there's good products, whatever, I'm going to share it. And so I hope with my YouTube channel that, maybe somebody else goes and visits this garage as well. It's kind of like a small world. So, keeping the good guys in business is always kind of like a priority of mine. So if you're ever in Houston or if you need a vehicle checked out, I highly suggest Duggy's Garage. If it's a Toyota Lexus, give them a call, see what they could do for you. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. In my next video, I'm really excited because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start talking about all the aftermarket goodies that I'm going to put onto the GX that I've been discussing with Duggy's Garage about in length. So thank you once again to Duggy's Garage for putting up with my million questions. But it's going to be great. I'm really excited. It's all going to be quality parts, and I'm super stoked. It's actually happening a lot faster than I thought it would for kind of like the first phase or iteration of my GX, so more to come on that. But anyways, thank you for joining today. I hope you got something out of this, and if there's any questions, once again, just drop them down below. But anyways, y'all take care, have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.